After you've worked all summer long to extend your harvest by canning your food, whether pressure can or water bath canning, now it's time to store it, and there are right ways and wrong ways into doing this. Behind me is what most people would call a china cabinet. It has two doors that are glass that we store some of our canned goods on. You'll see that we've covered those windows or those glass panes with paper sacks. This is because the sun sets in the west and it penetrates through the window, and we protect our canned goods from the sun. You don't want direct sun on your canned goods. You can also store them in a basement, but you want it to be somewhat climate controlled, as well as you don't want to store it in an attic for that matter, unless it's a climate controlled attic, because if the canned goods get too hot or they get too cold, they will freeze and bust, and that's not a good storage method. You can also just put them in the corner, as we have with a shelf that we found in our attic. It works perfectly. We're not sure where it came from. It was here when we moved. It stores 144 quart jars perfectly. So it's one of those rare finds that work very well for the task that it's required. As well as you can just have a metal shelf and stack them on as well. You want to store these again in a cool, dry place away from direct heat or extreme cold. You can store these in the cabinets of your kitchen. You can store them behind your couch. You might want to avoid storing them under your bed if your bed is not as strong or possibly could break, because then you have everything falling and breaking your jars. Also, if you do put them on a shelf, such as what we have behind us, the doors and the windows kind of act as a barrier to keep the jars falling off. Again, many of us are in earthquake-prone areas, so if you do have a shelf, you want to have a lip, so if you're in an instance of a natural disaster, the jars don't all just slide off the shelf, and then you have absolutely nothing for food storage in that type of situation. Ideally, a root cellar would be preferred, but we all don't have that availability. So storing your canned goods the right way can increase the longevity and the reward that you've worked all summer for.